Welcome everyone. Today what we are going to discuss is organic acids and bases. We have discussed resonance and hyperconjugation as well as inductive effect up to now. If you have not seen our videos, then the link might be popping up somewhere around here or here. I don't exactly understand which direction it is. So you can go to that link and see the videos to have a clear understanding of this concept of acids and bases, which we are going to start from this video itself. So in our lecture, in our discussion today, we are going to limit ourselves to the Arrhenius concept of acids and bases only. There are different theories of acids and bases, but as of now, for this lecture and for the few upcoming lectures as well, we are going to limit ourselves to the Arrhenius concept of acids and bases. So what does the Arrhenius theory tell us? According to Arrhenius, acids are those substances that can produce H plus ion in solution, and bases are substances that can produce OH minus ions in solutions. Now the thing is, when a substance produces H plus ion in solution, it is known as an acid. When something produces OH minus in solution, it is known as a base. So that's what Arrhenius told. And our discussion today will preliminarily be on this Arrhenius concept of acids and bases. So what did Arrhenius tell? If this is the general representation of an acid, then anything that is going to give you H plus ion in solution is going to be a acid. So anything that is going to give you H plus ions is an acid. Similarly, anything that is going to give you OH minus ions is going to be a base according to Arrhenius concept of acids and bases. So HA is an acid. For this reason itself, HCl, H2SO4, all these things are Arrhenius acids because they can produce H plus ions in solution. Now the thing is, which solution? All of this produces H plus ions in aqueous solution. I am coming to this aspect. H2SO4, this thing has two ionizable protons. What are these things? I am coming to it. So all of these things can produce H plus ions in solution. So all of these are acids. Now the question comes, if all of them are acids, if HCl, H2SO4, all of them are acids, and the acidity is primarily because of this H plus ions which they have produced in solution. Both this HCl and H2SO4 have produced H plus ions in solution. So why are the acidities of these two substances or these two compounds different? Because both of them are giving acidity because of production of H plus ions in solution. Now the thing is, this will be clearer if we look into it in some more detail. Suppose HA dissociates in solution as H plus and A minus ion. HB in solution, HB is another acid which in solution dissociates as H plus and B minus. Okay, both of them produce H plus ions in solution, so both of them are acids. We can qualitatively tell that both of them are acids. Now you have to understand, or you have to make not a quantitative guess, but you again have to make a qualitative guess of which one of them is a stronger acid. So how will you understand between HA and HB which one is a stronger acid? Now we will understand it shortly. So first let us understand all of these things are in aqueous solutions, that is H2O is the solvent around it. So you are pouring HA in H2O, HB in H2O. So what happens? So once you are using water as the solvent, that is you are using aqueous media, this H plus ion that is being produced is being captured by this water which is present as solvent, and it now produces H3O plus ion. This H3O plus ion is known as the hydroxonium ion, and this is the ion which is responsible for the acidity of HA, HB or any other Arrhenius acids as a matter of fact. So this H3O plus is the species responsible for the acidity of HA. So you get H3O plus, you are getting H3O plus both in case of HA and HB as well. So now which one is a stronger acid? it will be guided by the amount of H3O plus produced in solution. H3O plus will be produced in both the cases, but in one case it will be produced to a greater extent. In the second case it is going to be produced at a lesser extent, and we need to understand in which case the amount of H3O plus ion is greater. The case in which the amount of H3O plus ion is greater is going to give you a more acidic solution as compared to the other one. So how to make a guess of that? So what you are going to do is, if you understand it clearly, then HA is going to dissociate as H plus and A minus ion, and this is the equilibrium. Mind it, we are going to discuss again what equilibrium is in detail, but as of now it is sufficient to understand what the equilibrium means. That at any point of time inside the solution, you have both HA and H plus and A minus in the solution. So what it is, HA is dissociated into H plus and A minus, and H plus and A minus are associated to form HA. It might be so that this reaction is faster than this reaction and the equilibrium is driven towards the right. It might be so that the other one is faster and the equilibrium is driven towards the left. That we are going to study in details later. But what is important to understand is that you have all of these three species present in the solution at the same point of time. Not in same quantities, but they are present. At any point of time, you are not going to get only HA, you are not going to get only H plus or A minus ions. You are going to get a mixture of all these three things at any point of time inside the solution. Now the question comes is, when will my solution be more acidic? My solution is going to be more acidic only when the amount of H plus is greater. The greater the amount of H plus, greater is the amount of H3O plus, and correspondingly greater is the acidity. So more the amount of H plus, more has to be the amount of A minus, because HA is getting dissociated into H plus and A minus. So what you have to do is, you have to actually shift the equilibrium towards the right. You have to shift the equilibrium towards the right in order to have more acidity. So when will the equilibrium shift towards the right? The equilibrium is going to shift towards the right only when this species, this A minus species, is going to be more stable. Understand this. HA is going to break into H plus and A minus ions, and it will get broken to a greater extent only when it sees that the species that it is forming after breaking is a stable one. If it is not a stable one, it will not break into H plus and A minus ion. I hope you understand it. It is only going to break into H plus and A minus ions if it sees that A minus ion, which is being formed after breaking of HA, is more stable. So you will have different extents of H plus ions produced in case of HA and HB, because A minus and B minus are going to have different stabilities. The one which is more stable is going to give you more H plus, and correspondingly the acidity of that thing is going to be greater. So what we have boiled down to is that this portion, this anionic portion, which is known as the conjugate base of an acid, this is known as the conjugate base of an acid. You remove a H plus ion, whatever you are left with is the conjugate base of that corresponding acid. So in case of HCl, the conjugate base is Cl minus. In case of HCl, this one is the conjugate base. In case of H2SO4, this one is the conjugate base. You remove the H plus ion, the species you are left with is the conjugate base. Now, greater the stability of the conjugate base, greater is the acidity of HA. I believe this is clear to you. Greater the stability of the conjugate base, that is this anionic portion, greater is the acidity of this thing. Understand this. It's the acidity of this thing you are considering. It's not the acidity of this thing. It's the acidity of this thing. Once your conjugate base is stable, your corresponding acid is stronger. Which one is the corresponding acid? This HA is going to be the corresponding acid. Suppose you are considering HCl, which is giving you H plus and Cl minus ions. So what you are seeing is this one is the conjugate base. This one is the conjugate base. Now if you are told that compare the acidity of HCl, HBr and HI, means as in which one is the stronger acid, what you are going to do is you are simply going to look into the conjugate bases of each of this. So in case of HCl, the conjugate base is Cl minus. In case of HBr, the conjugate base is Br minus. In case of HI, the conjugate base is I minus. Now you have to consider the stability of Cl minus, Br minus and I minus. Whichever is more stable will be more acidic. More acidic as in which one is more acidic? This one is more acidic, or this one is more acidic, or this one is more acidic. Remember, this one is not the acid, this one is rather the conjugate base. This one is rather the conjugate base. So these are not acids. Your corresponding acid is going to be stronger. Now let us see between Cl minus, Br minus and I minus, which one is going to be more stable. So it is very easy to understand. The thing is, the concept is again very clear. More the delocalization of charge, more is the stability of the corresponding anion. Whatever substance you see, whatever cation, anion, whatever you see, greater the delocalization of charge, greater is the stability of it. So in case of these three, if you see I minus is larger in size as compared to Br minus and Cl minus. So since it is larger in size, this minus charge is going to get delocalized to a greater extent. Since it is going to get delocalized to a greater extent, so you can expect that this I minus is going to be more stable as compared to Br minus, which is again going to be more stable as compared to Cl minus because of its size. You have a bigger room. So once you have a bigger room, you have more room or you have more space to delocalize the charge, which is not present in case of Br or Cl minus. I believe it is clear. So I minus is more stable as compared to Br minus and Cl minus. So correspondingly, HI is going to be a stronger acid as compared to HBr and HCl. I believe this is clear to you. Whenever you are given 2, 3, 4, 5 acids, what you need to see is you just need to look at the conjugate base portion of it and see its stability. You compare the stability of the conjugate bases and then you arrive at the story of which one is the stronger acid. Remember this, we are going to shift this tail a little bit in our corresponding discussions, but as of now it is very much sufficient to understand that the conjugate base stability is going to determine the acidic nature of the corresponding acid. More stable the conjugate base, more acidic is the corresponding acid. I believe it is clear to you. Now let us look into some examples. And then things will be very clear. Now, if you have been told to compare the acidity of these three compounds, all of these are carboxylic acids, one with a chloro substitution, one with a bromo substitution and one with a iodo substitution. Now you have been told to say which one is a stronger acid, how you are going to approach questions like this. Again, the thing is you have to first understand which proton is the acidic proton. In this case, it's a carboxylic acid, so this proton is the acidic proton. So the corresponding conjugate base is going to look somewhat like this. This is clear. This is going to dissociate like this. This is going to dissociate something like this. I believe this is clear. If you have any problem, then please do let us know. So these three are the conjugate bases we are going to get. Now if you see, now what you have to do, what I have told, you have to just look into the stability of the conjugate bases. Now these three are the conjugate bases and you have to see the stability of the conjugate bases. All these three are stabilized by resonance. How? You see, you shift this top to middle and middle to top. This kind of resonance is possible in all the three of these species. So all of these three are stabilized by resonance. And mind it, these structures which you are going to get after resonance are equivalent resonating structures. So in all three cases they are going to be equivalent resonating structures, so they are quite stable. Now the thing is, how are you going to compare them? Now you see, chlorine is more electronegative as compared to bromine, and which is in turn more electronegative as compared to iodine. Now since chlorine is the most electronegative one, you can understand this will have a greater minus I effect, this will have a greater minus I effect. Now if you have not studied minus I effect, then I am going to give you the link. The link is coming in the pop-up somewhere around here, so you can go there and see it. If you have not watched this inductive effect video. So chlorine, because of its greater electronegativity, is going to have higher minus I effect. So since it has higher minus I effect, it is going to withdraw the electrons to a greater extent. So once it is going to withdraw the electrons to a greater extent, you can understand this negative charge now has a possibility of delocalization via inductive effect because of the higher electronegativity of this chlorine atom. So this chlorine atom is going to attract this negative charge to a greater extent as compared to this bromine atom, which is not that much electronegative like chlorine, and iodine is not going to attract this negative charge to that much extent like chlorine or bromine. So chlorine is going to attract the negative charge to a greater extent, bromine is going to attract it to a lesser extent, and this, for the iodo substituted one, it is going to attract at the least extent. So in this case, this negative charge is going to be delocalized over this entire molecule. In this case, to some extent, yes, because bromine is going to attract. In this case, it will delocalize, but to the least extent because of the least electronegativity of I minus. So this negative charge will be delocalized to a lesser extent. I believe this is clear because of the lesser inductive effect, minus I effect of iodo group as compared to chlorine or bromine, which this inductive effect is a function of electronegativity. It's something I have told you earlier. So in this case, what we have seen is this one is going to be most acidic because this conjugate base is the most stable one. So what we have seen again is the conjugate base, the stability of the conjugate base. We have tried to ascertain the stability of the conjugate base via inductive effect in this case. Now let us look into one more example. In this case, these are carboxylic acids again with a chloro substitution, in this case at this position, in this case at this position, and in this case at the farthest position. Now I have to, in this case as well, you need to look at the corresponding conjugate base. Remember, you have to look into the conjugate base. You have to do nothing else. In case of questions arising out of acids and all, you have to just look into the conjugate base. If you are told to compare the acidity of this, just look into the conjugate bases of all these acids. In this case, if you see in all these three cases, the conjugate base is going to be resonance stabilized, and the resonating structures, sorry for this, and the resonating structures are going to be equivalent in all these three cases. So again, resonance is not going to give you a correct explanation in this case. So what is happening? In this case, chlorine is located at the nearest position. Understand this. In this case, chlorine at a farther position, and in this case at the farthest position. So understand this. Inductive effect is a function of distance. It is going to operate more strongly once it is closer to it, closer to the group, to the concerned group. In this case, the negative charge is here, and the minus I effect inducing group is here. In this case, it is further away. In this case, it is farthest away. So the minus I effect is going to be the strongest in this case, and it is going to be delocalized to a greater extent because this group is going to exhibit its minus I effect to the largest extent, to the greatest extent. In this case, it is going to be to somewhat a lesser extent, and this case will be to the least extent. So inductive effect is a function of distance. The closer it is, the greater it is going to act. So in this case, it is going to delocalize it to a greater extent, in this case to a lesser extent, in this case to the least extent. Remind this, in the example we learned before, all these groups were present at the same position, so you just can't decide because all of them are present at the same position. The effect of inductive effect is the same in all these three cases. In this case, the substitution is present at different positions, and closer it is, greater the inductive effect. Greater the inductive effect, greater the minus I effect, greater is the electron withdrawing effect, and greater is the stability of the corresponding conjugate base, because now the negative charge is going to be delocalized. More the delocalization, more is the stability. That's why this is going to be the most stable conjugate base, followed by this, and then followed by this. So this one will be the most acidic, followed by this, and then followed by this. I believe this is clear to you. If you have any problems, then please do let us know in the comment section below. Now let us go to one more example. First, let us try to do this example. So what they have asked here is, identify the acidic protons. So what are the acidic protons? Acidic protons are the protons. You see, protons means H plus. Okay, because H plus has only one proton, so protons means H plus. So in this case, there are three protons here, because there are three H over here, and there are three H over here. So what is being asked is, which among this and this is more acidic? So how we are going to determine which one is more acidic? It's a simple theory. You just look into the conjugate base, you remove the protons once from this position and once from this position, and look into the conjugate bases. Let us try and do it. Once you remove a proton from this position, that is a H plus ion from this position, you are going to end up with a structure like this. And once you are going to remove a proton from this position, you are going to end up with a structure somewhat like this. So now you have to ascertain the stability of this and this. So if one is more stable than 2, then this proton is more acidic. If the reverse one is true, then this proton is going to be more acidic. Now let us see what happens. In this case, this is going to delocalize like this, top to middle and middle to top, and you are going to get a structure somewhat like this. In this case, if you see, this cannot delocalize, because in this case oxygen has a lone pair of electrons over itself. It has no place to accommodate this negative charge. This negative charge in this case has no way of delocalizing. I believe this is clear to you. Delocalization like this can happen, and it actually happens, but this negative charge cannot delocalize. This negative charge cannot delocalize. So since this negative charge cannot delocalize, so this conjugate base is not going to be formed. And once this conjugate base is not going to be formed, that simply means that this proton, that is this proton, is not acidic. This proton is acidic because the conjugate base which we are getting out of abstraction of this proton is a resonance stabilized species. I believe again this is clear to you. If you have any problem, then please do let us know over any of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, comment section below. Anywhere you can let us know if you have any problem. Now let us go to the next example. You have been told to compare the acidity of these four compounds. Now what you will do? Again the same protocol, you are going to look into the conjugate bases. Now in case of phenol, I have shown you how to draw the conjugate base. I have shown you how to draw the resonating structures of phenolate, that is the conjugate base in this case. In this, I believe this is clear. Phenolate is the conjugate base of phenol. The resonating structures of phenolate is something I have discussed in my previous videos. If you have not seen it, then I am going to attach the link somewhere over here. Go and see it. In this case as well, this is going to be orthonitrophenolate. This is going to be orthonitrophenolate. So the structure is going to be, let me show this in a different slide altogether. So this is going to be somewhat like this. In the second example, the conjugate base is going to look somewhat like this. We have to look into this resonance of this. Let us see top to middle, middle to top. Sorry for my poor drawing skills again, because I don't have that much control over this touchpad. So what you are going to end up with is something like this. Sorry, it is going to, okay, I have drawn it. Let's not get into it in a difficult way. We will try to draw it in a simple way. So now top to middle, middle to top, the negative charge has come over here. Now this negative charge has two options. Let me draw it clearly for you. Now this negative charge has two options. It can either delocalize like this, top to middle, middle to top, or it can delocalize like this. It can go to the middle of this bond and this can move middle to top. So in this case it has two chances of delocalization, and you are going to get 6 resonating structures. Draw the resonating structures by yourself, and if you have any problem, it's the same like phenol, just that you are going to get one more resonating, same like that of phenolate, sorry, just that you are going to get one more resonating structure, and the resonating structure is going to look somewhat like this. I believe this is clear. I believe this is clear to you. In this case you are going to get one more resonating structure. In case of, now let's move to the third one, that is metanitrophenol. Metanitrophenol, what is going to be the conjugate base of it? The conjugate base is going to be metanitrophenolate. Metanitrophenolate. So now if you draw the resonating structures again, what you are going to watch is something quite crucial. Now you see top to middle, middle to top. So in the next resonating structure we are going to get the negative charge at the ortho position like this, with the nitro group somewhere in the para position. I believe this is clear. Now in the next resonating structure, this is going to rotate like this, top to middle, middle to top. You see, you are going to get a resonating structure like this, like this. So what you are actually seeing is that this negative charge, which actually came to this ortho position in case of this orthonitrophenolate, has actually come from the ortho position to the para position. It has never actually touched down on the meta position. So if it has not reached the meta position, this nitro group cannot actually delocalize the negative charge over here. The negative charge never comes to the meta position itself, and since it doesn't come to the meta position itself, so this extra resonating structure arising out of delocalization with the nitro group, like the one we have seen in the orthonitrophenolate, is not going to happen in this case. So in this case we are going to get only 5 resonating structures like phenolate itself. I believe it is clear. But in case of paranitrophenolate, you are again going to get 6 resonating structure, because in case of paranitrophenolate, the resonance is going to be same. It's going to be same. I believe this is again clear. If you have any problem, please do let us know. In case of paranitrophenolate, our last one, what we are going to end up with is we are going to get one more resonating structure somewhat like this, because the negative charge comes at the ortho position and then comes at the para position. It never comes to the meta position. So a nitro group at the meta position cannot exhibit its minus R effect. It cannot exhibit its resonance effect. It can at most exhibit inductive effect, but it cannot exhibit its resonance effect, because the negative charge is never coming to the meta position itself. So this, in case of the paranitrophenolate also, we are going to have 6 resonating structures. So we are going to get 6 resonating structures for orthonitrophenolate and for paranitrophenolate, and we are going to get 5 resonating structures for metanitrophenolate and for normal phenolate. So what we have ended up with is that this one, the conjugate base of this and the conjugate base of this have 5 resonating structures, and the other ones have 6 resonating structures. So these two have 6 resonating structures. These conjugate base of orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol have 6 resonating structures. So the conjugate bases of 2 and 4 are going to be more stable than that of 1 and 3. This much we have understood. Now let us concentrate on 1 and 3 as of now. Then we are going to go to 2 and 4. So out of 1 and 3 we have understood that 1 and 3 are going to be less acidic as compared to, so understand when I am telling 3, it's the 3 is actually this compound, 1 is actually this compound, this is the conjugate base of 1, this is the conjugate base of 2, this is the conjugate base of 3, this is the conjugate base of 4. So what we have understood is that 1 and 3 will have lesser acidity as compared to 2 and 4. That is very clear. But which one is going to have least acidity between 1 and 3? Now you understand, nitro group has minus I effect. In this case there is no such nitro group. In this case there is one nitro group. So in both the cases, in both this conjugate base of 1 and conjugate base of 3, we have 5 resonating structures, but added to it there is a nitro group here which has minus I effect. Minus I effect means electron withdrawing effect. So the one having a extra nitro group as in the meta position is going to withdraw the electrons, which is not so in case of this one, which does not have any nitro substitution. Since this has a nitro substitution, it is going to withdraw the electrons or attract the electrons towards itself, and that's what is going to cause greater delocalization. Greater is the delocalization, greater is the stability. So conjugate base of 3 is going to be more stable as compared to the conjugate base of 1 because of the electron withdrawing inductive effect of nitro group, which is absent in case of 1 but present in case of 3. This is clear? So 1 is going to be least acidic. 1 is going to be least acidic, and then it is going to be 3. Now let us consider 2 and 4. In case of 2 and 4, we have the same number of resonating structures. So out of resonance we cannot tell anything. Now let us go to inductive effect. Inductive effect again is a distance dependent phenomenon. In this case the nitro electron withdrawing group, that is the nitro group minus I effect group, is present at the ortho position. It is going to withdraw the electrons. It is going to withdraw these electrons to a greater extent as compared to the para one, as compared to the conjugate base of the para congener. I believe it is clear to you. Because of greater distance in case of para, the para isomer is not going to withdraw the electrons to that much extent as compared to the ortho isomer in which the nitro group is present closer to the O minus. So again, greater the electron withdrawing effect, greater is the stability, because this negative charge is going to be delocalized over this nitro group out of minus I effect as well. But this nitro group in this case is exhibiting both minus I effect and resonance effect. In this case it is exhibiting minus I effect and resonance effect, both the effects, but the minus I effect is lesser as compared to this because of greater distance in case of the para isomer. Since it is present at a further location, the extent of minus I effect is a little bit less as compared to this one, or the ortho one, where the NO2 group is present in closer proximity to this group as in to the negative charge. So which one is going to be most acidic? The ortho one is going to be most acidic, followed by the para one, then the meta one, and then the normal phenol. I believe this is clear. This is again understood simply from the stability of the conjugate bases. You look into the conjugate bases, more stable the conjugate base is, more acidic your corresponding acid is. Now in order to see the stability of conjugate bases, we have taken help of inductive effect, we have taken help of resonance. Inductive effect is a distance dependent phenomenon. Closer the group is, greater the effect is. In the examples we have learned today, we have taken examples of groups which exhibit minus I effect. Minus I effect means electron withdrawing effect. So electron withdrawing effect, the closer it is, more will be the electron withdrawing effect, more will be the delocalization of the electrons, more is going to be the stability of that corresponding conjugate base. and greater is the acidity of that corresponding acid. I believe it is clear to you. If you have any problem, then please do let us know. If you have liked the content, then please do press the thumbs up button. Do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.